4 people were killed in a shooting in Midtown Manhattan. That's where we're starting the 7 from the Washington Post. I'm Hannah Jewell. It's Tuesday, July 29th. Let's get you caught up with today's 7 stories. Yesterday evening, police responded to reports of a shooting in a Midtown Manhattan skyscraper. Police said a gunman walked into the lobby of 345 Park Avenue carrying an M4 rifle. He opened fire before taking an elevator to the 33rd floor. Authorities said he killed 4 people before shooting himself in the chest. Another person was seriously injured. One of the victims was identified as NYPD officer Didarul Islam. New York City Mayor Eric Adams spoke about the officer at a news conference last night.
He embodies what this city is all about. He's a true blue New Yorker, not only in the uniform he wore, but in his spirit and energy of loving this city. And early tonight, I met with the officer's family. I told them that he was a hero, and we admire him for putting his life on the line.
The gunman was identified as 27-year-old Shane Tamora. Police said the Las Vegas resident acted alone and appeared to have driven across the country in recent days. His motive for the attack is still unclear. The Post texted nearly 1,100 Americans about President Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. That's number 2. The controversy over Trump's handling of the late sex offenders case isn't going away. In fact, it may be ramping up. This morning, the Post published a survey that asked Americans how closely they are following the story and what they think. The poll found that most Americans are paying at least some attention to news about the Epstein case files, and that most Americans largely disapprove of how Trump is handling the issue. Most respondents strongly support releasing all files in the Epstein case, and most suspect that the documents contain embarrassing information about Trump, Democrats, and billionaires. The full poll makes for fascinating reading as Trump tries to navigate the Epstein controversy. Find the link in our show notes. Number 3. Whistleblower evidence suggests a Trump judicial nominee misled the Senate. Emile Beauvais is a top Justice Department official nominated by President Trump to the federal bench. He also served as Trump's personal defense attorney in 3 of his criminal cases. He has been at the center of some of the Justice Department's controversial recent actions. That includes a successful push to drop federal corruption charges against New York Mayor Eric Adams. Trump formally nominated Beauvais for a seat on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Third Circuit in June, and a full Senate vote is expected this week. But a new whistleblower claim could complicate his confirmation process. The Post reported yesterday that a whistleblower presented documentation that contradicts claims Beauvais made before the Senate Judiciary Committee. The Post reviewed the evidence and agreed to withhold details to protect the identity of the whistleblower. The information follows revelations from 2 other DOJ whistleblowers. They said that Beauvais told subordinates in March that they may need to ignore court orders that would hamper Trump's push to deport millions of undocumented immigrants. Number 4. President Trump said the U.S. would set up food centers in Gaza. Trump hosted a meeting with Britain's Prime Minister Keir Starmer at his golf resort in Scotland yesterday. At a news conference, Trump acknowledged the unfolding hunger crisis in Gaza. And he broke with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who has denied Gazans are starving under an Israeli blockade. Here's some of what he said.
But we're going to be getting some good, strong food. We can save a lot of people. I mean, some of those kids that's real starvation stuff. I see it. And you can't fake that. So we're going to be even more involved. We did some airlifts before, some airdrops.
Trump also said the U.S. would work with European partners to distribute more aid to Gaza. Meanwhile, in Israel, two prominent human rights organizations released reports yesterday concluding that their government's actions in Gaza amounted to genocide. They said they found deliberate intent by Israeli decision-makers to target the whole population of Gaza and destroy life for the Palestinian people. It's the first time that Israeli groups have made that accusation. This morning, local health officials reported that the death toll in Gaza has passed 60,000 people. Number 5. Planned Parenthood got a lifeline in court for now. Trump's domestic policy package, known as the One Big Beautiful Bill, was signed into law earlier this month. A provision in the bill cuts Medicaid funding to certain abortion providers. This primarily impacted Planned Parenthood and threatened the future of that organization. So Planned Parenthood sued the administration. And yesterday, a judge temporarily blocked the provision. That will allow the organization to resume billing for Medicaid services while the case plays out. Planned Parenthood bills Medicaid for services such as contraception, pregnancy tests, and cervical cancer screenings. It does not bill Medicaid for abortion care. Congress has prohibited federal funding for abortion for decades, with only limited exceptions. A brutal heat wave will continue to bake central and eastern states today. That's number 6. About 200 million people were under some sort of heat alert yesterday. The heat stretched from South Dakota to Texas, then eastward, including most places from the southern Great Lakes to the East Coast. There won't be much change today near and to the east of the Mississippi River. Highs in the mid-80s to around 100 may threaten records along the urban corridor from Washington, D.C. to Boston. And additional records with temperatures well into the 90s to around 100 are likely again in Florida. But there is some relief on the way. Pleasant weather will arrive for many sun-baked spots by late this week and into the weekend. And at number 7, Sydney Sweeney's ad campaign for jeans has people talking about eugenics. That's right, eugenics. Sweeney rose to fame on White Lotus and Euphoria. In a provocative new denim campaign for American Eagle, the 27-year-old actor explains how genetic traits are passed down, with the tagline that she has great genes. That's genes with a J. Here's one of the ads.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has very genes.
But the implication is that the blonde-haired, blue-eyed actress also has good genes with a GE. That is part of what has made her, and this ad campaign, a great favorite of the far right. Others think it's a little unsettling and old-fashioned. It's not my job to tell you how to feel about this, but our fashion critic says it's not surprising that the campaign has sparked outrage for its seeming embrace of regressive values. And as the company's stock soars, it may inspire more brands to do the same. All right, you're all caught up. Before you go, take a moment to sign up for the 7 newsletter. That's where you can find links to all the stories I talk about here on the podcast. And today, you can also find a link to that Sydney Sweeney ad, so you can decide for yourself whether or not you're mad about it. Something else you can find in the newsletter today, a link where you can submit questions about stories you see in the 7. We're going to track down answers for an upcoming special edition of the newsletter. Stay tuned. Find all of that in our show notes, or just Google the 7 briefing. I'm Hannah Jewell. I'll meet you back here tomorrow.